Alright, so I've got a little bone to pick with what I think are bad parents. Let me start off by saying that this is only my opinion. As I've mentioned a few times, I'm doing this event right now where it's for a mall. And so one of the aspects of that event right now is that we have a small pageant for kids. I don't have any kids, and I don't, I'm not one to judge, I guess, but this is my opinion. We come across those types of parents that are the ones that drag their kids up on stage, but these kids are literally just clawing out the carpet while their parents are dragging them up on stage. And then as soon as they come off stage, we see them like getting spanked and slapped across the face and shit, and because they were crying and they didn't, they weren't behaving or whatever. And I'm thinking, like, when I was a kid, my parents would never do that to me. And I mean, they would ask me if I wanted to do pageants, or they would ask me if I wanted to do commercials, and I did do a few. And I also remember not being comfortable doing them, and so they never really forced me to do that again. But these parents, like, they force these kids to do that. And you know what? Some kids are just not the kind of people that can go up on stage. It doesn't matter if you're 5 or 50. Like, if you're not a public speaking kind of person, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I had a fight today with a parent. One of the other aspects besides the pageant is a drawing competition. And we get these parents with little or no faith in their children at all. And they try to pick fights with me all the time. And if you guys know me in real life, I'm not really somebody you pick a fight with, because I usually don't give enough of a shit to, I don't know, to contain myself, I guess, What I end up saying is, look, if you don't like the rules, then you don't have to play the game. Seriously, it's not a big deal. And obviously, someone like me, I can't work in customer service, obviously. But, yeah, this one parent picked a fight with me today because, her daughter is, I don't know, she's like 5 years old or something. And she is through to the finals, and the finals are tomorrow. The grand finals are tomorrow. But the thing is, this mom was upset because, we weren't going to announce the theme of the drawing competition until tomorrow when the competition, starts, because we just want to be fair to everybody, and we just want there to be a spirit of spontaneity. We don't want the parents to train them and tell them what to draw, We want them to draw on the spot and think of what to draw on the spot. She picked a fight with me, and she insulted my intelligence, actually. She was like, I can't believe that an event organizer would be so careless with their, with the preparations for their event. I can't believe that you wouldn't, give my daughter, who's 5 years old, time to prepare. There's no way she can compete if you don't give her time to prepare, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and this is in front of her daughter. And she was saying things like, she can't do it. If you don't tell her what to draw from now, and if she doesn't practice, there is no way that she'll be able to win this competition. There's no way she'll be able to compete in this competition. And she's saying this right in front of her daughter. And I'm like, alright, there's a little thing called faith in your kids. And you know what? For fuck's sake, even if you don't believe in your kids, pretend to. Because it matters to them. And she was insulting all of us, just saying, you guys obviously have no experience with kids. You obviously haven't thought of the psychological state of these children. These children that are 5 years old, they don't have the ability to draw something, spontaneously. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I was like, your daughter is in the finals, which means she's already competed before, and we obviously thought that she's pretty damn good. What the hell? What? And I'm not even, okay, look, some parents just like to pick a fight. They try to, I understand if parents want to try to give their kids the upper hand. Absolutely. I support that. Cheat if you have to. I support that. Because you love your kids. I get that. But for you to be saying how your kid is so ill-prepared and how she's mentally incapable of doing this and how she's, in front of them, I think that's fucked up. And as a kid, I'm not so sure that she'll forget about that. So, Yeah, and then these parents that like when we were trying to get people to sign up to do this competition, this pageant, the other thing, the pageant. We'd go around the crowds and we'd see little kids just like, that haven't signed up, but they're looking up on stage and they're just, in awe of these other little kids that look so pretty and are dancing so well or walking well and singing well and stuff. What we're gonna do is walk up to them and say, hey, did you sign up? You can still sign up. You can come do this. And their little faces light up and all of a sudden their parents grab their hand. They go, no, she's too young. Or no, she can't do that. She's not talented. No, she's too shy. And at first, we're just like, oh, all right, sorry, they're, since they're kids. But after a while, I was like, no. I was thinking back to when I was a kid, and my parents have done that to me once or twice as well. Where I don't know, I had a basketball game, or I had a play, or I had a dance or something in school, and I would invite my mom, and she would just be like, you can dance, you can act, you can sing, you can play basketball, you can swim, all those things. It eats away at you, to be honest. So, call it emotional and mental revenge from when I was a kid or whatever. But I just started signing up for these kids after a while, and so did my friends. Because I was, as soon as the parent says, no, she's too young, no, she's too shy, no, she's too this, too that, she's not this, she's not that. I just said, okay, stop. And I asked their kids, and I was like, what about you? Do you want to do this? Are you too shy? This is not your thing? And they look up at me, they look at their parents, they look back at me, and they go, actually, I really want to try. And I'm like, there you go. And their parents look at them like in awe, like shocked. Like, what? You want to do this? And I'm just like, dude, I'm not a parent, but obviously you're missing something if you don't even know what your daughter wants to do. You're with them, well, you should be with them, like, at least 12 hours a day. You don't know that your daughter has an interest in modeling or acting or singing? I don't know. I'm not one to judge, but these parents just, it's beyond me. And their kids are so talented. It's crazy. I don't even think I was that talented at all, even close, not even close. And I think in this day and age, most of all, if your kid has interests in something besides TV, video games, I think that's freaking amazing, and that's definitely something that you need to shape. And yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that parent picked a fight with me, and I just ended up telling her, look, I mean, if we're so ill prepared, and if we're so not up to your standards, then you shouldn't be competing with us. And that's all I said. And obviously she wasn't very happy. She threw a little hissy fit and walked off. And then I told her daughter, after her mom had stormed off, I was like, if you still want to come draw tomorrow, you should come draw. I don't know. That's my bone to pick today with parents. These crazy pageant parents, seriously. And then they have their kids in like bikinis and high heels and shit. And I'm like, you're 3. What the hell? We would give you more points for wearing a diaper than we would for wearing heels right now. If we wanted a strip show, we would have 18-year-olds walking up on stage, not 8-year-olds. I don't get it. They're such assholes. I hope they wake up and realize that, their kids are only going to be kids for another 5 years max. And yeah.